So we're going to talk about a very new project. We're only 5 months in, so we're in a pre-planning stage. So it's one of the first presentations that we've ever done about it. So feedback and advice is very much welcome. We're going to talk about a project called Šilainiai Gardens. I'm Evelina Šimkutė, an artist and community activist who grew up in this neighborhood and I still live there. This is Rūta Lukošiūnaitė. We work together on the project and she is a sustainability practitioner. Yes, the project is about using communal gardening as an opportunity to facilitate military land reclaiming process, and by that transforming the perception of what gardening in Lithuania is and where it can happen.
So we were trying to understand our place, and we started from the physical place. So we are working in a fortress, which is fortress number 8, which is located in Kaunas. And Kaunas, during the First World War, was surrounded by military objects, and a lot of military infrastructure was built there. Today there are more than 150 abandoned objects, and ours is one of those, which is the 8th one. And the fortress number 8 is located right next to a Soviet micro-district, which is called Šilainiai. This micro-district was built in the 80s, and it is one of the largest districts of such type in Kaunas. Šilainiai is home to 50,000 people, and despite the area being very densely populated, there are non-existent high-quality public spaces. The only place for people to meet is local library. So how do these places connect? And we found that they connect through people. So majority of people who moved into the Šilainiai estate, they moved from villages or some rural places, and when they came to these multi-story buildings, they realized they're missing something. And this missing link was the connection to the land and having ability to garden. So at that time, when people moved in, the fortress was abandoned and it became unsafe. But despite the fact, people still started to use the land without sometimes even realizing that they are in the fortress territory. So, yeah, so because this process was long and throughout the years the same people were gardening, and naturally they became older and they retired, and this activity became the main activity for them during the warm season. Unfortunately, at the same time, more robberies and random destructions appeared because the place was undefined and the function wasn't clear. So through the combination of this reduced feeling of safety and users of the place becoming older, a lot of gardeners stopped their activities. And in 2018, there was a try to forbid gardening in this area, and some greenhouses were put on fire, and the whole situation just escalated.
So a crisis was developing, and I decided that intervention was necessary. And the only feasible intervention at the time was listening and advocating for more productive communication between opposing stakeholders. And this is basically what you can see.
Yeah, so we have kind of a view from the outside that the place is unused, from heritage people that the place is kind of untouchable and it should be, historic value should be the main focus. It's also abandoned and dangerous.
However, Senior Oma Zita, who has been gardening in this particular garden for more than 20 years, says that she loves the land, and when it's warm, she spends 4 hours gardening a day. It's fresh air, there she rests and recharges, and that actually prolongs her life. She prolongs her life in the garden. So, whilst listening to all the stories and experiences in the fortress, it became clear that everybody shares a common wish that the place was looked after and used. And after 5 months of meetings and negotiations, now we have core stakeholders who have a common goal, and that is to establish a historic park with functional spaces for local community. And one of those spaces would be communal gardens. This is communal gardens last year in May, one of our meetings, and this is how it looks like, the place facing the Šilainiai neighborhood. So, and I want to leave you with one question, something that came up when we were thinking about this place. So in Šilainiai, the innovators, and even though illegally, the change makers in the neighborhood are the seniors. They have the knowledge, skills, and habit to grow food. Traditionally, growing food in the city dwellers, for the city dwellers in Lithuania is associated with collective gardens, countryside, and history. Collective farms and Soviet history, and there was not much you could buy, and gardening was a necessity. Now this perception is changing with the arrival of fashionable eco-movement, which is practiced by and marketed at the young generation. We are at a unique historical time when we are witnessing the shift happening. Can we seize the opportunity to identify and nurture still existing gardening practices in Lithuania? So we want to leave you with this question, and we're open for discussion during lunch if you feel like so. Thank you very much. This is the photo that was taken of the place a couple of weeks ago, and this is how we start our project, and this is how you can follow our process when we can start communicating. Thank you very much.